Andre, how's it going?
Hey man, I can't complain. How about yourself? We had a lackluster All-Star weekend. Very disappointed, man. That shit that was horrible. That was horrible to watch. But I hope your weekend was good, man.
It was a wonderful weekend. Thank you for suggesting, as we were saying before tapping in, Kobe Bryant, guys like Michael Jordan. I mean, don't want to see an all-star game like the one that we just saw, right? Because we're used to seeing it, like you said, at minimum, guys playing some defense, wanting to win the game in the fourth quarter, and that was not the situation yesterday.
I don't want to hear that the players don't want to get hurt. I mean, when the last All-Star game injury did we see? We didn't see none. I'm going to say that the guys before them that were all stars, they didn't care about all that. They wanted to just show who was the best. But we're in a different whole era, different mindset. I get it. These guys nowadays, they feel entitled. Like, yo, I'm putting my health and everything first. That's cool. Just let somebody else be an all star. If you don't want to play in the game, you don't care. Let somebody else play, man. That was a bullshit performance. The fact Carl Anthony Towns got 50 points, it just, I'm, come on, that just tell you the game is bullshit. Out of all the bucket getters in that All Star game, Cat got 50 points. Come on, that's unheard of, man. We're talking about guys like Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone. These guys, they took pride in playing in them All-Star games, man. And like I say, man, LeBron has created the friendliest era of basketball we have ever seen throughout basketball existence. This is the friendly era of basketball. And that's why you get a friendly game of pickup like they did yesterday. I don't want to see that no more. Adam Silver, you need to address this. I hope the ratings were horrible for you yesterday, just so that you have to change it and you have to do something. You have to outlaw the All-Star game. If you don't, it's just gonna be you're gonna have bad ratings. Everybody killing the NBA right now, giving hot takes about it. It was horrible to watch that 211 to 186. Everybody just standing out the way. You could just freely dunk and all that. You could keep that shit, man.
Yeah, so it wasn't that long ago that we were all kind of nationwide saying, speculating really, that the NFL and its days could be whatever, numbered, la la la, and that the NBA was on the rise. And all of a sudden you fast forward to the Super Bowl this past, week or whatever, and it's the most viewed television event. I think it was 135 million people tapping into the Super Bowl. And at the same time, we're literally watching, like you said, the best and the brightest in the NBA load manage to the point where it's like not even like really a commentary any longer. Like these guys are straight up sitting out the game, right? And at the same time, they want to be maxed out on the other end, right? With making like an all pro team or all NBA team, even if it means that it's just they're making that team because the next three, four guys at their position were injured that year, whatever it is.
This is the era of the player entitlement era. This is all about player. This they made it a players' league when LeBron went to Miami. When LeBron went to Miami, that's when the players controlled the narrative. He broke that ceiling, and all hell broke loose when he made that decision. I love LeBron off the court. I would tell this to the man face. You ruined the All Star weekend and you ruined the NBA competitiveness of regular season basketball. I blame LeBron James.
Well, shout out to the king because, like you said, he does a lot for the community. He's
Does a
obviously
lot. That I gotta speak on that.
he
And he honors thy wife. Got to. I love it.
hey, and you know what? I mean, honestly, like you look at this guy. It's never going to be a debate for me. I'm an MJ guy, and I'm not even certain that LeBron would crack even my number two because I'm a Bill Russell fan, right? But
Okay.
but I mean, in terms of just like collective body of work, the championships that Bill Russell won, it is what it is. Bill
I
Russell,
got okay.
he's got those rings, so you can't
He
deny it,
do. He
right? And there's a
do.
lot of other people that are also on that list. But fast forwarding to what we were also saying, how do we fix that NBA All-Star Weekend issue? Because, like what you said, guys like Karl-Anthony Towns, hey, he's a former number one pick. He isn't exactly who you think about when it comes to a dominant force in the league. However, Anthony Edwards, on the other hand, he seems to be kind of like the next torchbearer for the league in a sense. But they need to do a better job of highlighting guys like Shea, like Ant, like some of these other guys that are on the rise. So how would you fix this NBA All-Star Weekend situation?
I would make that game, whoever wins, the winner of the game, they get to have home court advantage. Whichever conference, Western or Eastern, win a game, you get home court advantage in a 7-game series in the NBA Finals. Yes, you have to take it to that level. Hell, if you want to give guys a bump in pay just to save face, by all means. But Adam Silver, you cannot deliver this product again. You can't. And it's just sad to see that my beloved dunk competitions, brother. I remember the 2000 dunk contest. Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Steve Francis. That was a great dunk contest. And the electricity that Vince Carter brought with the 360 windmill. He started it off with the 360 windmill. Then he took it to behind the backboard windmill. And then the iconic Tracy McGrady bounce. And he put it between his leg and windmilled it. That was electricity. The Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, that was electricity. That might even go down. I can say that because it's newer, but it was the greatest dunk contest ever because of the amount of, man, that shit was crazy. It had everybody on the edge of their seat. Like the people that were there that night, they left happy. The people that left this past All-Star weekend left disappointed. And I was one of the fans that tuned in, and I was very disappointed. You got to clean that up, Adam Silver. Clean it up, man.
And like you said, I mean, how difficult is it if you're getting an LED screen for the daggone court to get somebody like a Hyundai or whatever to throw down $5 million for the champion, one. And then two, I don't really want to hear these players say, well, all the best dunks have already been done. Because that defeats the whole point of any competition. It's kind of like they don't say that the Olympics every year. Oh, the guy won the gold last time, so I can't do it right this time, And I'm watching Jaylen Brown. I mean, shout out, he's a Celtic, whatever. But he can't even do the D Brown thing the right way.
Come on, man. He's an in-game dunker. But listen, I salute him for getting in because there were guys I feel like that should have been in there. Ant-Man, you got to be in there. Your sheer presence will be like Vince Carter like. It'll be like when, what I mean, when Jason Richardson, you knew Jay Rich was going to put on a show whether he lost or won. He put on a show. Jordan, Dominique, those guys wanted to win those dunk competitions. You would step on the floor, everybody in the world, they're going to want to watch you go head to head with whoever. Get all the young best dunkers in there and put a $5 million prize up there. They're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to get goofy. They're going to even practice dunks like they used to do. That's another thing. Guys back then, Vince was one of the guys, he was practicing his dunks, summer leagues he was playing in after the season or just training. That was a thing. It was a badge of honor to be in that dunk contest. But in today's society, they just snarf at it, man. I don't fuck a dunk contest. That's what these guys think. And that's what LeBron put in these youngsters' mind. Bron is an influencer. He didn't give us one dunk contest. One. The only one you can see from him is in the 2003 McDonald's All-American. And what he did in that McDonald's All-American, if he did that in the NBA, that alone would have made him a champion. He worried about, I don't want to look bad. That's the problem. Everybody worried about brand and how it's going to look, make your brand look. Your brand is established. It's not going nowhere. Stop with that bullshit and the narrative controlling. I hate that, man. Just get out there and put on a show, please.
And it's interesting because you would think that with all of the various awards and trophies that King James has amassed over his career to this point, including the first ever in-season NBA tournament banner that they hung up in whatever they're calling the Staples Center these days,
Oh God, come
right?
on, man.
And so the fact that he doesn't want, right, people to think that he's got the ability to deliver when it comes to something like a dunk contest. First of all, we all know that he can, right? And like you said, he's got to be setting that standard for that next generation.
Yes, yes. That's why you got a lot of jabronis in the NBA that's entitled. And I get it. These GMs are dirty. They grimy. They'll trade you in a heartbeat. They ain't worried about your kids and who they connected to in school and their friends, and then they got to move them. Like, you got to put everything on the table. But because the players got control, you got guys like Ben Simmons. You got guys like James Harden. Shout out to James Harden and fuck James Harden at the same time. The Clippers do look good now that they all settled in and everybody know their roles. So I'll give them that. He's still a jabroni though. And these guys ruin and hurt the league with the narrative controlling. So now the top players, they don't have no loyalty. You'll get a Kevin Durant who will ask for a trade every three years. Or if you approach free agency, he don't mind moving. You know what I mean? That's what has been brought in the league. Shout out to the king, though. But I ain't like how you became king.
So we're going to go prediction mode of the program here. First of all, before we do a little bit of that little housekeeping here, we're going to talk about sort of prognostications of the NBA trophy, maybe championship, all that kind of stuff. But Jock Vaughn, to your point about these NBA GMs, I mean, what is this guy supposed to do with that roster, right? I think that he was 21-33, which is not a terrible record. He's got to juggle, a roster that contains a Ben Simmons on it. So, I mean, that is, I think,
Benedict Simmons. Benedict.
That is an example of the kind of environment that you are talking about. So on that note, let's start off MVP trophy. Who you like down the home stretch here?
You gotta go Shea at the top. Shea is number one. Nobody thought with this is like the second or third youngest team, might even be the first, but they're in the top three of youngest teams in the NBA. And nobody expect that the OKC Thunder would be the third seed in the West. Nobody thought that. This is a team that builds through the draft. Nobody will go sign there as a destination. They have to hit on their draft picks. They hit on Kevin Durant. They hit on Russell. They hit on Harden. They hit on Ibaka. That chapter is gone. Those guys are in their 30s. They hit on Jalen Williams. They hit on Chet Holmgren. They hit on the Shea Alexander trade. And Dort and everything that they built around that. Those guys, Sam Presti is one of the best general managers in the NBA. Hands down. If I start a franchise, I want him as my GM. And I like what Shea do out there. Almost a 32, 33 point per game scorer on his team. One of the most unstoppable offensive weapons in the game. And he do it so easy. So at the top, I'm going with Shea. And if Luka could get the Dallas Mavericks up in the top 5 seed, 6 seed, they don't come in as a play-in team. They got to play in to get in. If they somehow could be a 5 or 4, I like Luka to get that MVP too, man. Luka is amazing. Luka ain't the biggest athlete in the world, but what he do, the way he control the game, you're not gonna speed him up. He plays at his pace all the time. The only thing I'm worried about now, there's a narrative about Luka that's coming out. They saying a lot of top athletes, the top stars, wouldn't go to Dallas because of the amount of times Luka got the ball in his hands and the amount of shots he put up. So now they starting that narrative about Luka. Watch out now. But I would say my top 2 guys, Shea, Luka, Jokic, those would be the top 3.
Okay. Now, defensive player of the year, a lot of gossip or a lot of, sort of speculation about Victor Wembanyama becoming the first Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. How do you feel
He
about
had a 10 block game, triple double. This brother, granted he's 7'4", but he could be one of them 7'4", slew-footed, don't have no footwork. He moved like a guard out there, and he is a defensive presence because he has so much command of the he's 7'4" with an 8-inch reach, if I'm not mistaken. Like, come on, like his 8-foot reach. Like, he got long arms to go with the 7 feet in height. This brother is amazing talent, man. He had a triple double with 10 blocks. That's amazing. You got to give it to him, man. You might have to give him Defensive Player of the Year. All the guys that were credible defensive players, DeMarcus Smarts, Jaren Jackson having a down year with Ja Morant being out. Memphis Grizzlies look like there'll be a lot of rebound this year. I don't see nobody beating Wembanyama out for Defensive Player of the Year. Jimmy Butler been hurt most of the year. I mean, who else is there that you would call a defensive player? I mean, I don't see nobody. Wembanyama would be my number one choice.
that? Makes a lot of sense. I like it. I mean, like you said, in my opinion, I think that having guys that just pride themselves on just being able to lock people down and be a highlight level defender is slowly kind of like becoming almost to extinction at this point.
Obsolete.
Yeah, no doubt. So, okay, and then just because we have to do it, prediction mode of the program. Who do you like at this juncture to actually see in the finals?
Well, I hate that my beloved Sixers, man. I just hope Joel, if he come back, if he could be Joel of 80%, like give me 80% of what he was doing, we might have a chance. But I'm gonna leave us out. I can't be biased. So right now, man, I'm gonna say, I hate to say it, the Clippers are gonna make the finals this year out the West. The Clippers, it's gonna be hard to beat them when they have Zubac. He's a rim protector. You got the two lockdown defenders, two of the best, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Then you got Russell and coming off the bench, and you got Harden as the maestro, and they all fitting into their roles nicely. They've been going crazy lately, ever since starting out 0-8. I like the Clippers out the West, and as far as the East, damn, Doc Rivers, man, you come back and they just been shitty. Y'all fired Adam Griffin for this, and it's not really on Doc. Doc's still trying to learn these guys and get his system involved. This is what's going to happen when you do in-season coaching changes. Things like this happen. So I don't see Milwaukee. Maybe they can get hot in the end and towards April, towards the playoffs. I don't know. Boston looked like the juggernaut in the East, man. They still look good. Kristaps Porzingis, soft as I don't know what, but he has been a great addition for them. And Drew Holiday is giving exactly what they needed. Perimeter defense. When they traded Marcus Smart, Drew Holiday filled that spot nicely. Derek White has been a great addition. Well, great scorer for them. He was there with them previously last year, but he's been a great scorer for them. I guess it's going to be Boston and the Clippers, man.
Hey, coming from a 76ers fan, I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the transparency.
But I can see New York getting in. Don't sleep on the Knicks, baby. Don't sleep on the Knicks. But Boston and the Clippers, I'm going to say.
Hey, you know what? That's fine. I mean, the Knicks, they get Mitchell Robinson back, and who knows about Julius Randle's shoulder, and maybe they're back in it. But like you said, I think as long as Porzingis can keep himself healthy through the playoffs, the Celtics at least have a fighting chance.
They definitely have a fighting chance, man. But the Celtics, they are the prime time player in the East. But the Clippers, they'll beat Denver. Denver had they run. I don't think they'll beat the Clippers right now the way they've been going crazy. And OKC, I can see OKC in that Western Final this year. It might be the same way Durant and Russell went through their playoff lumps. They lost in the first round, their first go around in the playoffs. They lost to Los Angeles. Then they would make it to the Western Finals or a second round. then the Western Finals, they were, you know what I mean? They're gonna be on that same trajectory like Russell and Durant was, Shea, Chet, and all those guys. Don't be surprised if you see them in the Western Final this year. Even Minnesota, they look good this year. Ant-Man has established himself as the guy for Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns is a great number 2. He's fit in to that spot nicely. Rudy Gobert, another softy, another jabroni who they try to make a defensive great, whatever. But he does his role nicely for them. And they just gave Mike Conley extension. I could see Minnesota doing some damage, but Clippers, Boston in the finals.
I like it. Lock it in. Andre, as always, thank you for tapping in. Thank you for the education. We'll do it again next week.
We'll do it again next week, man.
All right, man. You have a great one.
You too.